How many of you have ever made a mistake? How many of you have taken care of that mistake? And then how many of you have made that same mistake again? Anybody? There's a difference and a distinction, and I guess we can give out the handouts now. I would say that there are two different types of mistakes. One of them is for learning, and the other is for self-sabotage. One will actually get you going and actually give you some knowledge, body of knowledge on which to build, and the other is a self-sabotage, which sort of keeps you stuck where you are and you're not going anywhere. Anybody ever have that feeling? There was a psychologist back in the mid-40s, his name was Abraham Maslow, that came up with the idea that what happens if we study self-actualized people or healthy people instead of sick people? And he discovered a whole new way of psychology, humanistic psychology, which basically said, what happens if we look at the well people in our society, the ones who are actually functioning, the ones who are actually making things happen, the ones who are actually making money and have good relationships and have good health and have good health, everything. What about them? What are they doing that the rest of us are not doing? And what I've discovered is that there's a way of communicating with the subconscious being that is a little different than what we're normally taught to believe. In other words, I'm not approaching the subconscious as a thing to be fixed or a state to be changed. Because I've discovered that regardless of the state we create, like if we're doing what I learned, for me anyway, was that affirmations did not work for me. There were some other things that did not work for me. In fact, quite frankly, I was able to get access to that being or that level of understanding back in the early 90s. And when I understood that piece, I call it the logical soul. What normally we're taught is that, or what I was taught, is that we have a thought. And this thought manifests in a desire, all right? Which then leads to action, which then leads to achievement. You are fulfilled, aren't you, CF? So when you get when you have a desire to get chocolate ice cream and you get chocolate ice cream, what does that mean? It means you are fulfilled. In other words, that's a complete cycle, isn't it? Now, that's normally how it should work. And if you have a desire for something, shouldn't you be able to get it? So what happens? Why don't we get what we desire? Why don't we get what we want? If I were to understand what self-sabotage is, the cycle that goes into that, what would that look like? And I came up with this. Actually, in the self-sabotage cycle, is it shows up in the form of a thought. Okay, so when we go down to the thought, that the only thoughts that we have are either inspiration or memory. They either come from inspiration or come from memory. And so how do you know where your thoughts come from? A lot of the stuff comes from memory. Memory meaning not only our memory in recent years, but also from our childhood memory, from our parents, from our ancestors. I mean, and then when you don't get what you want, you don't get the ice cream, then you remain, what, unfulfilled, right? So you're not fulfilled, you're unfulfilled. That then leads to the next level, which the thought comes up, I can never get what I want. Things just don't work out for me. There's a way of getting feedback. There's a way of getting feedback from this subconscious being. And again, I call it subconscious because the subconscious being has its own, what I call prime directive. In other words, I call it the law of the very good reason. There's a very good reason why the subconscious has made that decision to not do this thing. And unless you know what that reason is, you're not going to make any progress. So, Ninotchka, I'm just going to demonstrate muscle testing with them, and I'm just going to have you raise your right arm and just hold it out to the side like that. Have you done this before?
No, sir.
Never done this before. So this will be good demonstration. So that's strong. What I want to have. See that? Let's try it again. Hold. All right. So she's strong. Now say my name is Ninotchka.
My name is Ninotchka.
Hold. Good. We know she's telling the truth. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me speak to Carlo, and I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.